Live from the Cactus Creek at Ibri, he is the king of prime time, Ghana's undisputed entertainment laureate, and still the youngest old man in Ghana. Put your hands together, show some love for the indefatigable KSM.
The KSM Show.
Thank you, folks. Thank you. You know, I told you I'm starting this series of talking to the serious presidential candidates, and the emphasis on serious. And you know why I said that? I'll explain that very, very soon. But today, I have the honor of hanging out with this guy. He's an independent, and he's hanging in thick, you know. And the way why I say it's serious, you know, there are many, many independents that show their face 3 months to the election and come and talk about their agenda, and they lose, of course, and then they vanish. 4 years later, 3 months to the election, they show their face again. But I told you last week, and those of you who don't know the names, go and check Talk Shop. Anyway, today, this is an independent, but he's been in, man. He's battling with the big guns. And when I see him, I say, Massa, now I grow back to me. He said, Charlie, me Papa. So I want to talk to him today. Put your hands together. Show some love for my good friend, Kofi Koranteng. There you go. Whoa. You're the man.
Yeah, you the man.
Please have a seat here.
Thank you.
Kofi Koranteng is in the house, folks.
Yeah, man.
And we're going to be hanging out. And stick around, man. We'll be right back.
The KSM Show.
Thank you. We are back. Now, you know, on December 7th, we're going for the polls, for the election. We know the two main parties, NDC and MPP. And those are the projected parties that people anticipate to be battling. But in between, there have been some independents who are ruffling feathers in a way. But not much attention is paid to them. But today I have one guy here. You saw him. I'm going to engage him a bit. And trust me, you realize that even if he's going solo as an independent, he's still a force to reckon with. Show some love one more time, man. Kofi, welcome to the show.
Yeah. It's good to be here. I missed the mountains.
We'll be going back there very soon.
Yeah, cactus is a passion of mine, man.
Yeah.
I fell in love the first time I got this place, man. It's beautiful.
I know. You were carrying on.
Yeah. But house yeah, so
You prefer us.
who's that?
Show some love one more time.
Yeah.
Kofi,
Yes, sir.
I've classified those running for president. I say there are some that are running for it as a hobby.
Naturally,
you know, whatever they know they are gaining, they must be gaining something.
Absolutely.
Because consistently they come back after 4 years and appear to be ruffling feathers, and then they disappear. I don't know. I'm not talking about them. You have been in as an independent, and you seem to believe that you are going to create something in Ghana.
Sure.
What is your inspiration? Are you scared? I don't even see you on radio, on TV.
That's a racket. It's a whole conspiracy, but we'll get to that. But listen, my inspiration is the youth.
The youth.
They don't have a chance in a million with any of these alternatives except through me. And you need to understand, KSM, first of all, the competition does not understand what's at stake. How big this whole new world order is.
When you say the competition, who are you referring to?
MPP, NDC, and of course everybody else, because I categorize them into people who, or groups or entities who don't understand versus me. You see, Ghana is at a very special place in time now. And with the right leadership, everything we have lost since independence, we have a chance to gain it. But the person going into 2024 December election that we elect has got to understand that the playbook is different. With the Russia-led BRICS, China-led BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, they are dispositioning the America-led G7. And that has allowed countries like Ghana to emerge from the shadows if we are positioned correctly. See, if you take a look, 1,000 kilometers, 1,000 miles actually from Ghana, and you do a radius in this region where we have one of the biggest Francophone countries being Ivory Coast, and you have the biggest Anglophone economy being Nigeria with 215 million people. In the next 15, 20 years, Nigeria is going from 215 to 375. Ivory Coast and the whole region, this whole region is going to be about 500 million people plus. We don't have any services, and I'll go down: housing, healthcare, employment, education, transportation, telecommunication, recreation, security, markets, and a functional central business district. In 67 years, the governments that have come and gone, and in the last 32 years in the Fourth Republic, MPP and DC have not been able to build not one of these 10 critically important things that are indicators for development. They haven't been able to do, I mean, listen, you could go down the list again. So now we build that in Ghana, and we build a transportation system that goes from here to Lagos and goes around in the region through the Sahel regions and comes through Ivory Coast back to Ghana. Do you know the market we will create if we build Ghana well? Just to think about it. Ghana is going to be the epicenter, the new Dubai of Africa, where everybody, because they have transportation, I'm talking bullet trains now. Think about this. Now, you look at this and you say, Kofi, where's the money? And I'll show you the money. But think about this. You go from Shanghai to 1U, it's about 40 minutes. You going on a bullet train, it's like you're actually faster than a plane, because all the turnings that the plane would have to do before it lands and you come out through your gate. You quicker on a bullet train than on a plane. And it's more convenient, it's cheaper. And if we could have this transportation system done right, Ghana pays for it, everybody in the world, in Africa, at least in this region, will come to Ghana for all their needs. And guess where that's going to put Ghana? The amount of economic combustion that can happen in Ghana, as we look at it now, we're going to be toppling over each other in billionaires' money. That's how serious, and that's where I am looking. So I do not understand why we would have governments of MPP and DC go to parliament and all they talk about is who wins power and how many V8s they could get. And that's level one thinking. We're talking of building first-class infrastructure with our roads, healthcare systems, with our buildings, our schools. Listen, we have a poverty gap because we have a technology gap. We don't have the competencies. So when you come in as a government and you start talking about you want to build a 24-hour economy or you want to build, you don't understand that it's not about just clutter and activity. It's about quality and competency. See, that's why you go to America, they sell a Timex. You go to Switzerland, they sell a Rolex. One is a watch, the other is a timepiece. One costs $150, the other costs $150,000. You see, because they've built their competency to a level that pretty much around the same amount of time, one will create $150 in a product, in a watch, Timex, the other creates in a timepiece $150,000.
Can I say something real quick? When I listen to you, you're talking about the level of competence, level of competencies. You have come, you used to live in the US, you've traveled far and wide, you have gotten a certain level of exposure that is putting you here when it comes to the perception of how you look at things. So for example, you're here, okay? And that's how far you've gone in terms of what you see, your level of competency. This is where it is, all right, Kofi? You have now come to join Ghana, and the general people that you want to lead as a president, what I have said so long that it's almost become an anthem. I talk about the level of mediocrity in this country. We believe in the lowest common denominator. Kofi, so this is the problem I think you are facing. And when I'm wrong, you tell me, you know.
Well,
your competency is here. You want to lead folks that are here, and they are telling you, Kofi, oh, we are okay. You can't even bring us here. We are okay. You know, and you are talking here. How do you link? You know, how do you connect? How do you make your issues understandable when you're talking about these levels?
Well, you see, because the challenge is the common person on the ground has needs. And the needs are all the things I talked about in the 10 things that housing, healthcare, employment, education. Now, if you take a look right now, according to the Ghana Statistical Service, 7,317,555 households are multidimensionally poor. And 80% plus of what has made them poor are in these 4 things, top 4 of the 10 things that I talked about: healthcare, housing, education, employment. So I know that to even begin to sell people at the level on this vertical spectrum that I talk about, I need to first do the most basic things for the indigenous Ghanaian. You see, when you provide housing for people, the good food for them to eat, a health care, 80% of their problems are solved. So that's where I'm coming in. And that's why I talk about the mega threesome. The mega threesome, Kofi Koranteng's mega threesome, 5 things, but the top 3: change the constitution, which has allowed for the governments that we have had, at least in the last 32 years, to rape Ghana and get away with it. Change the constitution. No serious person who wants to lead Ghana can lead Ghana without changing the constitution. Fact. Because it's riddled with opportunities to steal and get away with it. Fact. Number 2, eradicate corruption. Because according to their accountant general, we lose $3 to $4 billion through corruption every year. So in the last 32 years, $96 billion has gone to corruption. We could build the whole Ghana with $96 billion. It's dribbled down corruption. That's not my saying, that's what they're saying. That's not even my numbers, right? And then institute a national development plan for the next 50 years in 4-year timelines. So a specific national development plan which goes to developing a nation, not gimmicks, social interventions, one district, one factory, one constituency, 1 million. Let's build toilets. Let's make poultry farms for everybody to sell. Not those.
I hear you. I hear you.
Specificity in nation building, and the specificity in nation building is housing. You cannot build a nation when your people don't have a place to lay their heads. Healthcare. We have women who are having children on the floor, babies on the floor. Where does that happen? Our women are having children on the floor, and you come talk to us about 24-hour economy? Employment, meaningful employment, not the Zoom line employment where people get 180 CDs a month and they are not paid for 6 months. Not those. Work, employment that gives a lifestyle. That's what people are looking for, lifestyle. Not just work. If you're giving me work, I have to be able to buy good food. I have to be able to live in a nice place, be able to afford a car and go on transportation and all of that good stuff, right? Education. Our education has to be relevant. Not this bogus type that give free SHS. It's so bogus, we have an unemployed graduates association. Where did you ever hear that? Doesn't it blow your mind? That's the whole thing is an oxymoron. To have a group of graduates who say, hey, listen, we are unskilled, we are uneducated, so I guess we're gonna just be nice and hug each other, kiss each other, put ourselves. That's what I'm talking about, right? So education has to be relevant. Then we talk about transportation. You don't have, listen, the first thing the Chinese established before they even talked about an economy is transportation. Because if you don't have that connectivity, you cannot do commerce. Commerce is moving trade and service and products from one place to the other. You don't have connectivity, you can't begin to talk about a 24-hour economy. That's how ridiculous that is. We don't have a mass transit system. We don't have a rail system. We don't have a bus system. Look at what happened to Ayalolo. Go to their bus depot and see how many other hundreds of buses are rendered useless. Who signs a contract for a big bus service like that without maintenance? We did it.
We always do.
You see?
Yeah.
So, transportation.
So, sorry to cut you off.
No, sure.
So, but that's exactly what I'm talking about. You know, the level of mediocrity is scary. You have taught me. I'm glad you brought up Ayelo. A whole bus service imported. Did we make provision for spare parts, even for roads? Did we make provision for how much it will cost to maintain them?
No.
No. No.
Yeah.
So, Kofi, I'm agreeing with you. But I'm saying you're dealing with people who, unfortunately, have been conditioned to accept that. You know, you're talking about lifestyle. Trust me, you're talking about lifestyle that every person should at least have a little house, an apartment, blah, 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 blah. Your average Ghanaian who's operating on the lowest denominator, oh, tabu bi kra me bobo 2x4 bi madam, and they're happy. Oh, so Kofi, how do you get to them to get them to understand? You know, one time, and I'll let you continue. I don't talk too much when I'm interviewing guests because it's your platform. But I used to make a lot of noise some time ago, and then there was a whole period that I was quiet. And then somebody saw me say, KSM, what is happening? You know, then I gave him an example. I said, look, it's like you are crossing a river on a bridge. You see people in the water sinking. So you quickly get a rope and throw them a lifeline.
Oh, yeah.
Say, Charlie, get the rope and climb back out. They're in the water sinking and they do this to you. So what can I say? You know, so I said, okay, you know, maybe I'm wrong.
No, you're right.
So how do we do it, Kofi?
Well, and this is the predicament of life. Unfortunately, life is such that because you are elevated and you know more, the responsibility is on you to elevate society. Because you see, if we ignore society and our attitudes are, well, they chose to be ignorant, so allow them to suffer, we suffer along with them. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's our responsibility to keep at it. You never stop. And the beautiful thing is, we don't need everybody to be in agreement with what we are doing or what we're saying. We just need the conscious few to elevate their game. The problem is not the ignorant masses. The problem has always been the conscious few who choose to recline and not be proactive.
That's the problem.
Yeah. You see, because
Come on, some more.
because they're the ones who draw. They're the ones who draw
Yeah.
the narrative for the ignorant masses. You see, but they choose. They think they're okay, and that's deception. Because they think they're okay, they don't bother, and it gets worse. It gets worse before they drag them down in the water with them, and we all sink. But we can't allow that. You see, because very soon, right outside here, they're gonna start crapping all over, throwing garbage because you didn't stop the mess when you had the chance to. So we have to be proactive at a very high level. And all the good things that they may not see, it's our responsibility to dice it in a way where it becomes palatable to them till the few of them start, listen, when I went to California, when I was starting my sales career many years ago, and one of the first trainings they did was they told us about a story where they sent one person to a country in Africa where nobody wore shoes. And they said, listen, go there. And the person went and said, was so upset, they went into a place nobody sold shoes. So they took the next plane back and said, why did you send me to this country? Nobody wears shoes. I am a shoe salesperson. There's no need for me to be there. They send another person, then he says, oh my gosh, nobody wears shoes. No, all I have to do is find somebody and let them enjoy the comfort of wearing a good soled shoe. And they did. And then they're the ones who went out and sold the idea of, man, my feet feel soft and better. And then everybody started getting the shoes and they became the richest salesperson. You see, so it's all in the attitude and how you see things. You could choose to see it, the glass half empty. I choose to see it half full. And so that's where my inspiration comes from, that I want to change the narrative. I want to change because I see the potential the youth of Ghana have. And I know if we could redirect them and put them back on the track again and show them the options and the possibilities, move them from wallowing in the spectrum of misery and poverty, elevate their game for them to see the possibilities with the human experience. In excellence, they will take that option. And that's what we are here to do, and I'm excited to be on this trail.
Cool. So great. Now, and all this is fantastic. And so now you're running to be president so that you can elevate the game of the whole country.
Absolutely.
It's interesting the way you broke it down globally.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't just say, I want to be president of Ghana because this, that, I want to build toilets.
I was like, what? Seriously? And the other one is, the latest one is, then we're going to recruit them to show them how to drive buses. I was like, wait, why did you have to wait for them to be Kayaye? If you really want to help someone, why do you wait for them to be Kayaye first? It's almost like that's the graduating point. That graduate tomorrow. It's how you Kayaye ni who so what bread. And so now we throw in the rope to help you.
Yeah.
Really? This person wants to be president?
Yeah, and so I can stay on track. Yeah, so that's the level of thinking, you know. But I say, I'm talking to you now. You're looking at the global change. and where to
Absolutely.
position Ghana in that global change. You know, you're talking about the emergence of BRICS and how dynamically things are changing. Geopolitically, things are changing. And you are starting to think, how do you place Ghana, you know? But here's my problem that I want you to help me with, you know. Who understands this level of thinking that you can team up with? You
Okay.
know, do you remain an independent trying to struggle by yourself? Are you going to, have you identified links who can understand this approach that you can team up with and create the changes?
You'd be surprised how many people call me, and that's why I'm always on TikTok, because the youth see the opportunity. Listen, the youth, they go on YouTube, they're on TikTok. So the whole world have a window to the world. The whole Ghana, all the youth and everybody else. So the person, the tongue katiakra, they have a phone, smartphone, and they see what's happening. So they've developed an appetite for a lot of things they don't think they could touch. It's not reachable. So when you come and you show them that, hey, listen, this is what you can do. We have the money. We have the money. Yet isikaso enso comedy and well, what isikaso na unim nyansa komo be do rough. You understand me? You have to not only sit on money, you have to develop the competencies to use the resources to do something. And that's where I come in. I'm all about competence, science-based, data-driven, human-centered. You see? And that's why I know for a fact that, you see, there are a lot of people who understand where I'm speaking from, because even if you've lived in Ghana all your life and you haven't been exposed or traveled outside of Ghana, you see on your platforms what is going on. And people are continually feeling more deprived. That why they're asking questions. Why do we have gold and we don't do anything with the gold? We don't add value to anything. We don't add value to oil. 80% of our exportables, oil, gold, and cocoa. We don't add any value. We don't add value to anything. What do we add value to? So we have created this artificial poverty because our leaders cannot think. What they involved in is reflexive thinking, not strategic thinking. These are two totally different paradigms. For you to be globally competitive, you have to be strategically thoughtful. Right thinking comes with right planning and knowing what to do. Our leaders are not. They are level 1 thinkers. That's why when we found lithium, we ran away and gave it to somebody, because when I called up for it, they said, oh, Kofi, we haven't gone to that level yet. Duh, it doesn't come. You go for it. You have to train the competencies for it. And if you don't have it, well, wait and train people so then you can bequeath the resources to them. You see? So I don't even understand the thinking that these people have engaged in that has caused us to be poor. There's absolutely no excuse for us to be poor. Filth all over the place. Walk the streets of Accra. The gutters. You see gutter near the Agun chain 4 days, then the rain washes it right back into the gutter. What kind of deal is that, though? They give like 2 different contracts. The person who sticks stuff out of the gutter
and put it on the side of
on
the
the
road.
side, and they don't think about the person who's going to come with a truck right after to collect the debris. Well, who does that? You see, so that just tells you, listen, the moment you come out of the airport, you travel around the world, you go to Dar Singh Airport, you go to Changi Airport in Singapore, you go to Hamad in Qatar, you come out of the airport, you know where the level of their leadership. Just right outside where the taxis are picking you up. You come here, you come right out of the airport, you could tell the level of your leaders. You see? So we have got to get to a point where, and this is to the youth, if the only way they're going to be able to meet the aspirations if they vote for Kofi Koranteng, there's no other way. And everybody's moving to Accra. They're overcrowding everywhere. Kayayes are moving in, everybody's moving in. Why about developing all these other regions for people to go in there? What's the agenda for decentralizing stuff? They don't have one. And you cannot build a nation in isolation. It has to be a concerted calculation. You go from step 1 to step 2 to step 3 to step 4. And that's why
You cannot build a nation in isolation. And on that note, I'm going to take a commercial break. When we come back, we have more of Kofi Koranteng here. And the message he's sending, and I'll let you look into the camera before you leave here and talk to the youth of Ghana directly and why they should vote for you. But for now, let's take a short commercial break. Yeah, Kwaba, when we come back, the conversation will continue. We'll be right back.
The KSM Show.
Thank you. You're back. And I'm very, very happy to be hanging out with my younger brother and friend, Kofi Koranteng. And Kofi, you sing my song, like joke. I'm so tired of the mediocrity. I want to leapfrog. And when you talk, I see that that's the level that you're talking at, you know, the globalization. Where do we position Ghana?
Yep.
You know, and you're not thinking levels of, you know, we are building toilets for this, but you're going far up there. So now let's come back. So you want to be president of Ghana?
I want to serve my people.
You want to serve your people?
Yeah. Totally different mindset.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad you have said that. So that's where I want to start off from. You're talking about the educational system. Mm-hmm. And one thing I've said about our educational system is that it teaches you what to think and not how to think.
Bullseye.
You know?
Bullseye.
So you have a whole people who are educated towing the line because that is what they have been taught to think.
And you know where the problem comes from? The problem comes from, see, the best time to direct a mind is at the point of birth to 7 years old. That's when the mind is malleable. So when you go to the West and you go to the East, that's where they expose to the child so many variables of learning forms. Mm-hmm. So now the mind grows to adapt that style of learning so that when they become adults, they can very easily interchange, build synapses in their brains on different thinking levels. Now, the reason why I'm saying that is the average Ghanaian has a problem re-evaluating thought processes. And you can see that in the way our ministers think. You evaluate a legislature based on value. So if you take a look at the value they've been able to bring to Ghana, what has it been? Can you tell me? What value has this group of legislatures, 275 of them, if I were to tell you how much money we're paying them, you would be blown away. What has been their value and their contribution they are bequeathing Ghana with? Considering the backdrop of all these resources that we have available to us. We have, last year, 2023, we imported 26.7 billion cedis of food. We imported 2.3 billion cedis of intos, and jenene nyadwa from Burkina and Niger. Now, Burkina and Niger don't have planting for food. They don't have one district, one factory. They don't have one district, one dam, or one constituency, 1 million. But we go to them to import
The food they've grown.
jene and intos. We are the third largest importer of tomato paste from Germany. Yeah, can confirm. We have Ankobra Pra, the biggest man-made lake, River Volta, On the south side of Ghana, we have the Atlantic Ocean, borderless. Go as you please, as big as possible. We import fish. What is wrong with this group of people in Parliament? What's wrong with them? All the water the biggest man-made lake, we import fish. We've polluted our waters, decimated our lands. Commander Sugar Factory we can't use because the water that is absorbed by the sugar cane is all contaminated. To the point where we're giving birth to children who are, because of the toxicity levels, have neurological problems. And we have a parliament, 275 of them, doing what? And we pay them. And when they're sick, they get on a flight and go to Dubai and Americas for health care. Yeah. And we go to, have you been to Kolebu lately? Kolebu is a standing morgue. Go to Kolebu and see, look at Kolebu. Look at the filth in Kolebu.
Yeah. Let me just cut in, just quickly. We'll get back to what you're saying. So, I remember long ago, what were you in 73? Were you born?
Oh, 73 I was born.
Oh, you were born, okay. That was the first time I was admitted at Kolebu. That time, Kofi, they would actually come to the patients on admission with a menu. There were choices of what you wanted to eat.
Really? In
Yes!
Ghana?
Kolebu, Ghana!
Wow, I never heard that one.
Kofi, I'm telling you, you see these electric mops that they use to mop floors? Every 2 hours, somebody will be mopping the floor. Kolebu!
Oh, that
You can't believe it, eh? I am telling you.
Wow.
They came to change your sheets every morning. It's not like now, when you're admitted at Kolebu, you have to bring your pillow and your pillowcase and your blanket and the foam. So I can understand. I mean, it is a standing morgue. But how do we evolve or de-evolve from a time where they change sheets every day to now you have to take your own pillowcase to Kolebu before?
Leadership. 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 Leadership, Ghana. Leadership. We don't change the leadership, we're not going anywhere. We can't. We can't. We can't. We have a raggedy behind a sheep leading a pack of lions. Where are we going? I don't care how big your teeth are, how wild you are, a tiger. If you're led by a sheep, a raggedy sheep like these guys, we're not going anywhere anytime soon. We don't change leadership. Mahama, who comes and says, listen, in campaigns, yeah, you lie a little bit, and then you tell the truth a little bit based on what's convenient. Everybody lies. You want to come back, Mr. Mahama, and legalize Okada? Did you hear that one? You want to legal, and what's worse is, you want to hire a group of people and train them so that they could show how passengers get the right way for passengers to get on the back of Okadas. Hey, Eradi, when your counterparts are going to the moon, the darkest side of the moon, there is development in epigenetics that is causing human beings to develop stem cells and build their arms and fingers back. You want to train people how to sit on the back of Okada? Are you serious? Elon Musk just started a company in China now. It's 100% robotic. They are using artificial intelligence, quantum computing, the virtual reality, cellular intelligence, Internet of Things. These are supposed to make processes shorter, more efficient. Where did you come up with 24-hour economy? I'm going to do a 6-hour economy because I'm compressing 8 hours into 2 hours because of these technologies. That's what we're talking about. We are talking about the next episode of life, not backwards. Ghanaians need to work less and live more, not the other way around, Mr. Mahama. Are you serious? This is the next episode. We're in it. I'm just blown away by the resource. Listen, you can never build a nation on a deficit. Never build a nation on a deficit. We 740 billion cedis of debt. We don't have any industries. And so our proposal is this, just so you know. We're going to invest $10 billion into agriculture so that the output of agriculture, we feed it into our horizontal integrations and get value, add high-level quality to everything we're getting out of the agro-based industries. Export it, get foreign exchange reserves, and we do three things with the foreign exchange reserves. We pay down our debt, we expand our industry base so we could do more, right? And absorb the unemployment. And the third part of the money, the foreign exchange reserve, we're going to put it into a central bank so that if we have to go out and shop, go to the commodities market in the world, we don't go and borrow from the IMF. You have reserves in the central bank. Is that what is happening? Inflation is high. You know why inflation is high? Because the government of Ghana, led by these, he won't allow me to call them what I want to call them. But let me tell you, they are cutting money on a photocopy machine and buying the Forex on the street. So there's so much cedi on the street that we don't have services and products to buy. That's why your cedi is tanked. Simple solution, produce your own domestic stuff. Our domestic market is absorbed by over 90% by China and the rest of the world. Ask your minister, ask your parliamentarian why Ghana is not producing anything. Why are we not producing? We have certainly have all the raw materials. Why are we not producing?
Tell me why.
It's unbelievable. Well, because the ministers and parliamentarians have their girlfriends and wives and cronies importing stuff, which is easier for them to import. Brainlessness. We have to start building stuff, creating stuff, manufacturing stuff. We have to put our agro-based industries to work. That's why Kofi Koranteng is going to invest $10 billion into agriculture every year for the next 10 years. We are going to make Ghana the agro hub of the world. Listen, let me tell you something. Western region is 13,842 square kilometers. Tokyo is 13,542 kilometers. Actually, no, 452 kilometers. So the Western region is bigger than Tokyo by 400 kilometers square. 400 kilometers square. There are 37 million people who live in Tokyo. 2 million people live in Western region. 2 million. How is that for efficiency? 2 million versus 37 million. You want another example? Northern region. Northern region is 17,000 kilometers squared. 17,542 kilometers squared. Shanghai is 6,340 kilometers squared. The northern region is 11 times bigger than Shanghai. Shanghai has 27 million people. Shanghai has a population 11 times the size of the population in northern region, 2.3 million. Efficiency? So the problem in Ghana is not overpopulation. The problem in Ghana is we have leaders with small brains. Leaders with small brains, that's our problem. We are not children of a lesser God. We are citizens of a substandard thinking leadership.
I listened to you, and Kofi, the reason why all this goes to right to the bottom, and you talked about even how we bring up our children, going to school, the education and everything, you know. We are so used to this mediocrity, and when you take a group of Ghanaians who have grown up with this lowest common denominator thinking, and a group of them are aggressive enough to run for office, and they get into parliament, we all of a sudden don't have any superhuman beings in parliament. It's the same people that we are complaining that we are used to mediocrity, we like living in the lowest common denominator, we don't like excellence. These are the people, they are Ghanaians. And they are the very ones who go to parliament and represent us.
Yeah.
Kofi, why would we expect anything different? You know? Sometimes I keep saying that when they are vetting the ministers, I think that's a sitcom.
Oh.
You know, Mr. Kamen said they ask some questions about, so when you become minister for your first had in simple
my
fisheries, how do you define fish? You know, I mean, I'm taking it to another level. But I'm saying basic useless questions. And so
And they
that's
laugh.
when the problem starts.
They tickle themselves and they laugh.
So, Kofi, what are we going to expect from them? Because
We
they're in
can't-
parliament and because they're legislatures, they have come from that same.
Listen, let me tell you something, and I'm glad you bring this up. Listen, and that's why Kofi Koranteng is saying that 275, we don't need 275 legislators, and let me tell you why. We have artificial general intelligence. You know what that does? If you have a census, it can tell you exactly what you need in any given population mix. So you look at the demographic, we have 1,000 1-year-olds, 2,000 2-year-olds, 3,000 3-year-olds. Artificial general intelligence, when I went to Shanghai, I did this, right? It tells you for 1,000 1-year-olds, everything you need in their jurisdictional space, it will tell you what you need. Playgrounds, water parks, toys, it tells you. The clinics, pediatrician here, it tells you. So if you have a demographic, which we've done the census, so we know, why do you need a parliamentarian to go to parliament to tell you that, oh, we are in East Legon, you need a hospital, you need a clinic, you need your roads, you need underground sewer systems. You don't need it. Artificial general intelligence tells you. So why do we need 275? Wouldn't it make better sense for us to get rid of the 275 parliamentarians and retrain them to go into agriculture and use that money for the development that we actually need? Because we know exactly what we need. District, municipal, metropolitan assemblies, totally useless. Useless. Because we have a machine that tells us exactly what every community needs, because we have people living there. And even if we had goats living there, the machine will still tell us what we need. Why do you need the people? Why don't you put the people part of the citizenry so that they can enjoy? No, seriously, why do we need the people? Why do we need the people? It's just an extra liability that we don't need to take on with artificial. Listen, it's a new world. You don't change, the world will change you. And China is getting ready to take us for crumbs if we don't transform. And that's why
it's a new world. If you don't change, the world will change you. And we have come to the end of this, but I'm not going to let you go. I'm going to keep you just slightly longer. We're ending it now, but I'll keep him for the next episode because I want now to get into some crucial questions. You know, before I return you know, you see free America bar, some dream cry, kasa rough, you be me. When we come back, how real? What can we get done? Where do we even start? But that's not today. Today we are ending this program. We'll continue in the next episode. So until then, let me sign off and say, until we get back, and I'll be here back with Kofi, KSM signing off in the same words I've used for the last, I don't know, many years. We are out of, let the whole world say.